Hi, my name is Don. I work for ITS, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our website. When you go to the website, you're going to see a camera selector. So I wanted to give you some tips on what to do with that camera selector. So the first thing you want to do is think about your wavelength. Think about what you want to image. Is it long wave? Is it short wave? Do you want to measure temperatures? Just give a little bit of thought about that. So when you measure temperatures, there's a couple of ranges. The cameras are calibrated. So they're calibrated, for example, the first calibration might be -20 to 120 degrees C, and that would measure temperatures in those ranges. If you want to go to higher temperature ranges, you can go all the way up to about 800, 1,000 degrees C with a long wave camera. If you want to go higher, you could use a short wave camera and get all the way out from 350 degrees C all the way up to about 3,000 degrees C. So when you check out our website, just think about your temperature range if you're going to measure temperatures with your IR cameras or not. Now the difference between a long wave camera and a short wave camera is a long wave camera will image heat, whereas a short wave camera works like a visible camera where it's imaging light or photons. So that's a big difference. So when you're looking at a long wave camera, remember you're looking at heat and you're trying to measure temperatures, and a short wave camera is all about light. So that light could be emitted light or it could be reflective light, which is pretty much how a visible camera works as well. So the second category you want to think about is speed. When you're looking at an event, if you're doing research and development, some kind of test event, you're looking at your target and you have an event. Think about how fast the event is occurring. Now with a thermal camera, the event, typically most thermal cameras in the low expensive, low range thermal cameras are going to look at events in the 12 to 8 or 8 to 12 milliseconds. So that's what we would call a thermal time constant. Now with a visible camera, that what would be called shutter speed. So your shutter speed with a visible camera and shortwave camera is now called a thermal time constant, which is 8 to 12 milliseconds. Think about your event when that happens. If that event is happening very fast, you might want to go to a higher end camera which would have much faster thermal time constants or faster shutter speeds. Now the second component with speed is frame rate. So that's sample rate. There's a picture with low end cameras about every 30th of a second or 30 frames per second or 60th of a second or 60 frames per second. And then higher end cameras will climb up in frame rate. So you might have 100 frames per second all the way up to 1,000 frames per second or even higher. So that's the category number 2. And category number 3, or tip number 3, would be think about your optics. Think about your target size. We get these calls all the time and people say, hey, I need to do this and this. And our next question would be, well, how big is your subject, your target, and how far away are you? We're going to help you decide what optics to use by probably sending you a lens calculator. So in this lens calculator would be an Excel spreadsheet that you can use where you plug in the size of your target, you plug in your optic, how many millimeters is your lens, and then what are the size of the tiny parts you'd like to measure. And this would tell you what lenses you would need to select. We're going to help you with all these things. So if you give us a call or send us an email, we can assist you in picking the right camera for your application.